it in before I went over there. And this guy discovered Jerry, I don't know, 35 years ago. And this guy also used to manage Rock Hudson, Doris Day. Anyone in my village will probably remember Jim Neighbours, Gomer Pyle. I don't know whether, you know. So he used to manage all those big stars, and he stumbled across Seinfeld, and of course the rest is history. And when we were doing the shoot, we were told to do, Seinfeld signed off on 4 ads. And I thought, we can't. The Greater Building Society is the largest regional TV advertiser in Australia. Now, you can be the largest. Could you close that door, guys, if you don't mind, because the light's coming in? So therefore, if you're the largest regional TV advertiser, that means Dubbo, Rockhampton, you know, basically Griffith, Lismore, places like that, not Sydney and Melbourne. And because you can buy the ads for $50 a time, right? And so therefore, do you need something going, or? Oh, okay. So therefore, what we would do is that we'd actually, I said to the guys at the Greater, we can't do 4 ads. If we do 4 ads, because you are such a large advertiser, Seinfeld or not, you're going to get sick of it, you know. But he had signed off for 4, that was the deal, right? We would shoot for 2 days, but cut up 4. I thought, oh, we found an empty shop. The deal in his contract was that if he had to travel more than 50 miles from home, you had to give him a Learjet because he can't travel in a plane, right? And so we found a little country town, like a Lismore, or like the Tambourine Mountains, little town up the top of the Tambourine Mountains, 49 miles away from his home. And so we took out an empty shop and sent over all the Greater Building Society signage and the counters. Now, we built an entire branch in this little empty delicatessen shop just for this shoot. And then the little town, we paid them $50,000 to close the town down for 2 days. And they probably wouldn't have accepted that, except it was Seinfeld. So, and then when it hit, it was crazy because that guy can't sneeze without media being around. So there were helicopters from news networks everywhere. There were schools that closed down for the day. He had just done the B movie, which was the cartoon movie that he did. And the schools had all closed down and come to watch the TV. We had security, police would not, it was like stupid. I had no idea this was going to happen. The green screen that we had for this, you know, when the weather guy does the TV, his green screen or something like that, the green screen was the size of an IMAX theatre screen. So everything with this guy's big. And yet he's a nice down-to-earth guy. Now, his manager is a show-off. Seinfeld's not. Seinfeld's just a nice guy. And George Shapiro is your typical manager show-off. So this is what he's got to say. After we had, I said to Jerry, you can't do 4 ads. And he goes, well, that's what we're contracted for. I said, mate, the Greater Building Society is the largest regional advertiser on TV in Australia. The word regional was a little lower octave. He goes, largest TV advertiser? I said, the largest regional TV advertiser in Australia. We're talking Dubbo and Orange, of course, you know, and he goes, well, if it's the largest TV advertiser in Australia, I've got to do more than 4. I said, absolutely, mate. They all love Seinfeld, but they're going to hate you if you do 4 commercials. You know, it doesn't matter how funny you are. We said, how many should we do? Well, maybe 44, you know. We got 44 commercials out of him, okay? And what he did is that he would say to me at the end of the commercial, because the deal for this was that he'd come back out of retirement to do street jokes, and no one gives a shit. They're just walking past and not taking any notice of him. And that was the premise for the ad. He's standing outside the Greater Building Society telling jokes. And as it turns out, he'd yell out to me, oh, listen, give me a town name. And I'd say, oh, Wagga Wagga. And he'd go, what? I said, just Wagga Wagga. And he goes, okay. So he'd say, well, next week I'll be in Wagga Wagga outside the butcher shop. So that'd be the end of the ad, right? And he'd say, Jody, give me another one. I'm standing with the camera crew, and he'd be where, you know, Maria is. And I go, curry. And he goes, this is getting ridiculous, all right? Do you have any names of any? I said, look, don't blame me, it's the Aborigines, all right? They came up with all of this in the early days. He goes, all right. So the end of that ad will be, next week I'll be at curry. You better hurry, otherwise I'll commit hurry. So when I say it, it's not funny. But if Seinfeld said, and went through all of these silly names like that, and at the end of it, he eventually went like that. He said, give me another one. I said, Dunny Do. He goes, well, that's it. We're not doing it anymore. Right? So we had all of these different outros. We ended up with 40-odd commercials, which was just fantastic. By the way, Gail, we're not doing Facebook Live at the moment, are we? You're not? Okay. We are we? Okay, we'll do Facebook Live for another 10 minutes, and then we won't, okay? We'll come back and do it. Yeah, sorry, I thought we'd organise that. Okay, so this is after we got 40-odd commercials out of this superstar in the one day, and this is at the end of the day, his manager. Holy St. Joseph, Blessed St. Anne, make this work as quick as you can.
I have to say, JD, get a shot of JD.
I'll do my humble look.
The man is beyond brilliant. So far beyond brilliant, he burns out.
I think, look at the colour of the face. I have burned out.
Look at his face. You want to see a man that's burnt out?
I don't know whether that's
that
sunburn or blood pressure, George. I'm not sure after all this. Yeah.
But Don should see all the footage that was shot yesterday, and he will be thrilled and delighted. He'll take all the credit. Yes.
Of course I will. Oh, by the way,
John Dwyer will take all the credit for everything that happened yesterday. Jerry Seinfeld was okay, but this is the star. This is the star of the show. You getting a picture of him?
yes, he is. We're in a two-shot.
There's a two-shot.
A two-shot. Now, George, what I want you to tell these guys, by the way, is what we got away with yesterday. You were saying...
Oh, he was drinking all day in the tavern.
No,
That's what he got away with. That tavern right on the corner. If you could get a shot at that tavern.
Not that fast.
See, that's what he got away with.
Why did I even do
You
this?
brought it up.
Why did I
Did
start
he
there?
not
Why
bring
did
it
I
up?
start there?
He brought it up, getting away with it.
George, could you just tell us, though, you were saying yesterday you'd never seen Jerry deliver so much in a day. But
That's
I'm
right. No,
serious,
that was the best commercial shot of production in one day that I've ever seen in my life. And I said I've been around quite a long time. But that was amazing. He did 28 bits, 28 pieces of material, plus a lot of other lines and prancing around and enjoying yourself. Okay, that was the best production day I've ever seen. He was in the tavern, but he said, you know what he said? He said, "Okay, boys, do it." So he does get credit. He came out here and said, "Take care of everything," and he said it very forcefully. So that's
You know what? You've become as evil.
evil.
You have become as evil as him.
Well, you know, you're feeding me all these lines. I can't help it. You're the best straight man I ever met.
Thanks,
That
buddy.
guy that he just pointed to was a guy called Christian Carino, and he's Seinfeld's manager. He's Seinfeld's agent. So you got your agent, and then you got the manager. He just, I don't know, it was just a surreal experience messing around with these guys, because that guy just broke up with Lady Gaga. He was taking out Lady Gaga, you know. And I'm in the middle of all of this going, you've got to be joking. This is like a dream. And it was really quite an experience dealing with all of that level of I guess, entertainment superstardom. If only we had a clicker. Okay. Now, remember before I said fuel was something that appeals to both sexes and all ages, just like Holidays does. Some years ago, we don't do it these days, but some years ago we created a fuel reward program. I don't know where this goes. I'm not sure what's after this thing here, whether we have a TV. Is it? Okay, is it a TV out here? Let me see. Okay, right out. So what happened here, but I want to show you exactly how these Happy Meal toys can work for you, and they can work famously well. Who here has been through the Coles or the Woolworths supermarket system and you've got cheap petrol from time to time? Who's done that? Oh, it's okay. So what you're looking for when you're creating a Happy Meal for your product or service is something that's got a high perceived value, but a very low cost to you. That's what you're after. And so therefore, remember I told you before we went to the little morning tea break, the Greater Building Society gave away 10 cents a litre every week for a year, together with the holiday, and 10 cents a litre multiplied by 50 litres, which was the average that they lost, was $5. $5 multiplied by 52 is $260. So it sounds ridiculous because Woolworths have set the benchmark at 4. It sounds ridiculous, but of course it doesn't cost them anything. And in this instance, this particular program was based on this little thing here. I thought we had them. Yes, they are. Here they are. Okay, so this was a little fuel discount card. And the butcher, for example, would come on board and he'd run this Fuel for Less program. On the back of the card, you can't see it down the back of the room, but there's a barcode, just like, you know, any sort of membership program. And what would happen is that he'd give everyone in Port Macquarie, let's say, because this particular instance was a butcher in Port Macquarie, who went from 3 million to 4.2 million in 12 months just because of this little card. He handed it to the entire township and said, you've just got a fuel discount card. Now, I don't do this anymore. You can do it yourself, okay? It's not that hard to do it yourself. And so therefore what would happen, out goes 20,000 of these cards, and they're told that don't go to Woolworths anymore to buy. This guy was outside Woolworths, okay? So he was up against a 40-ton gorilla called Woolworths. And I used to be the marketing guy at Woolworths, and we were told to wipe the butcher out. We were told, you know, we were basically there to make sure all the other shops in the shopping centre were not going to match our prices. Now what he did is took on Woolworths, and they've been beating him up for years on price. So he said that for every $50 you spend in my butcher shop, I'm going to give you 10 cents a litre off your fuel. For every $50 you spend, I'm going to give you 10 cents a litre off your fuel. And how that works is if you actually go in, you zap your card, he puts it in the iPad, it recognises by the barcode that your name is Gail Dwyer, whatever it might be. And he says, guess what? You've been spending a lot of money with this. We've got $102 in your Fuel for Less account. Now, $102 means there's 2 lots of 50s. So instead of 10 cents a litre, he gets 20 cents a litre, or she gets 20 cents a litre. So just get in your head, for every $50, they get 10 cents a litre off their fuel. They can go out to any petrol station in the world they want. So there's no affiliation with any petrol stations. They keep their receipt and they bring it back to the butcher shop or the pharmacy or wherever it might be. And when they bring it back, he just checks it that they actually have just basically, got petrol. And even if they've got 60 litres on the receipt, he paid up to 50 because we knew that 50 litres was plenty for most people. So therefore, 50 litres multiplied by 10 cents is $5. $5 as a percentage of the 50 that they spent is 10%. So do you think if he put a sign outside his butcher shop and said 10% off, anyone would be racing in? No. But you put a sign outside the butcher shop that says for every $50 you spend with me, and we record it on this system, that you'll get 10 cents a litre, it went nuts. Well, it went from 3 to 4.2 million in 1 year. And he paid me $9,000. So we got $9,000, he got 1.2 million, and I hate him. His name is Kerry Buttsworth. I don't think we have him up here, but normally we've got a testimonial because we had real estate agents use this that went nuts as well on appraisals. But so therefore, in his instance, he bought a boat and he lives in the Whitsundays now and still runs his butcher shop with someone else. And he rings me up from the Whitsundays to say, JD, I'm on your boat. I hate him. And he said, thank you for giving me the retirement package. I said, yeah, terrific. Thank you very much for rubbing that in. Reason that worked is because petrol discounts are appealing to both sexes and all ages. That's what you're looking for. Unless your particular product or service is geared, like if you're Billabong, for example, or Hot Tuna, then you're geared towards the millennials. Well, that's different. Obviously, you're looking for something that's going to be turning them on, and that might be movie tickets. But if you're looking for a Happy Meal toy that goes across all boundaries, then yeah, look for petrol discounts or look for holidays. Oh, okay. This is a nightmare, by the way, but anyway. Okay. Drum roll, we come to what I'm about to show you. And if I can get someone to hand these out, that would be wonderful, if you don't mind. Because this is, I'll just put them here. Okay. You know what we were going to do yesterday, but because we're not launching this until next week, I couldn't do it. We were going to email out to you and say to every single person who comes here today gets 7 nights at a 4-star resort in Bali. Do you reckon that would have filled a few more seats? I think it would have, yeah, okay. I turned an advertising campaign, and by the way, we'll come back to Facebook Live because I'm actually going through a couple of things that are confidential. So we won't go through Facebook Live with this. I don't think anyone's listening, Gail, but anyway. If we can just turn that off and we'll come back in about an hour's time, okay? I don't think anyone was listening, but anyway, so therefore. Does anyone want a part-time job? Go on the road with me with someone that actually doesn't have a hearing aid? That would be good.